So this is the problems for Tuesday night, morning, afternoon, whatever. The directions are the same. Evaluate the quadratic function. But the format is a little different. And the thing to remember here, I'm not going to call it a trick. The thing to know, the thing to remember, the thing to do is to realize that even though the formatting is different, what we do is going to feel basically the same. And this is what I mean. So let me copy down this example. F of x equals 2x squared minus 5x minus 20. And then it says find f of negative 9. And let me read this out again just so we get practice kind of reading the math. This is what's called function notation. And we read function notation like this. F of x is 2x squared minus 5x minus 20. Find f of negative 9. Now, if you were listening, you heard me say f of twice, right? I said it in the beginning, f of x, and then I said it at the end, f of negative 9. And this is the part that's the same as what we did before, because this direction right here, find f of negative 9, I'm going to scoot my notebook up a little bit, is saying to do the exact same thing we did in the previous problem, which is to, I'll use my pens, right? Which is to plug in negative 9 for x. We're still substituting, we're still plugging in, we're still replacing, right? Replace, substitute. No different. We're going to see the x's and we're going to replace them with negative 9s. Now, one thing to keep in mind in this problem is that in the equation here, x shows up more than once. So when we look at this, we have to replace every copy of x with the negative 9. So let's do that right now. So this says f of x is going to become f of negative 9 equals 2 negative 9 squared minus 5 negative 9 minus 20. Now, if you've noticed what I've written here, this should look weird and wrong because up here, this 5 and x are being multiplied together. Let me add that, right? Are being multiplied together. That's what that 5 and the x next to each other means. But here it looks like I'm doing negative 5 minus 9. To fix this, we should use parentheses. And I'm putting parentheses around both copies of the negative 9 you see here. So this is 2 parentheses negative 9 squared minus 5 parentheses negative 9 minus 20. And now we need to do this arithmetic. So I'll do the negative 9 squared in a thought bubble one more time. So negative 9 squared is, remember the negative is squared, so we're going to put it in our parentheses, negative 9, close parentheses, squared, positive 81. And if you can remember that 9 squared is 81, then you should be able to remember negative 9 squared is also going to be 81. 81. And I'll go slow here. So f of negative 9, now I'm just copying, equals 2, and I'm going to use the 81, minus 5 parentheses negative 9 minus 20. And again, right, I don't mean 281, I still mean 2 times 81, so I need parentheses here again. And let me shift my notebook up more. So we can keep going. So I'm going to copy f of negative 9 equals, well, this is 2 times 81, right? So that's not something I feel like doing in my head right now because I'm keeping track of the stream, I'm keeping track of the video, I'm keeping track of everything else. So let's just make my life easier and do it on the calculator. 2 times 81 is 162. And here this is minus 5 times negative 9. So on my calculator, if you can pay attention, I'm going to do negative 5 times negative 9 for a total of positive 45. So again, a negative times a negative is a positive 45 minus 20. And now I'm going to copy again f of negative 9 equals, and then I'm going to combine all of these, 162 plus 45 minus 20. 162 plus 45 minus 20 for a total of 187. And these numbers aren't small, right? These numbers are getting big, but we have calculators. And if you don't have a calculator at home, you can of course use your phone. You can also use the calculator that's built into DeltaMath already. Just as a reminder, it's in the top, where are we going? The top corner of the DeltaMath screen. Let me click on this so you can see it. So if I scroll over, and it's the calculator looking button in the top right corner, and then the calculator shows up down here and you can do that same math on your own. So if you can get to Desmos, or sorry, if you can get to DeltaMath, you can get to a calculator. All right, so my final answer is 187. Let me type that in. 187. Submit. Yes. Green check mark. Feels good. And of course, DeltaMath kind of follows through and does basically exactly what I did. With the reminders about how negative 9 squared is positive 81, and negative 5 times negative 9 is positive 45, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that is the DeltaMath for Monday and Tuesday.